So I'm here today with one of my previous clients that we worked together a little time ago, didn't we?
A little time ago.
And Lara has been on the most incredible transformational journey. She sits here next to me today, 8 stone lighter.
Ta-da! I feel like I should sort of make a drum roll sound or something.
Clap hands.
Clap
8
hands.
stone lighter. We met back in 2021. You'd just done a cameo on Cheshire Housewives.
Yes.
And we started talking about your journey. And well, let's start with the first question. Take me back to the very start of your weight loss journey. How did you see yourself, and what motivated you to make the change?
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for inviting me here, Rachel. God, I can't believe it seems like only yesterday that we met.
I know.
Oh my goodness. So you've just mentioned one of the catalysts, and sort of a little bit backwards from that was, sort of my age being at the time was around about 50, 51. I was in the midst of menopause. We'd come through the first lockdown, and at the same time as that stage, I'd gone through international divorce and I'd started a new business. So what had happened was I had sort of slowly progressed and got, bigger and bigger and bigger, and was then featured in the Real Housewives of Cheshire. Thought I looked great, said to all my family, come on, let's watch. There I am featured in my size 18 outfit, which was sort of the norm for me then, but I hadn't really seen myself. And everybody was like, oh, you look great, there you are. And all I saw on screen, I just felt that I looked like a whale. It's the only way I can describe myself. I was like, I didn't recognize myself. And then there was a subsequent appearance on the BBC, sort of similar sort of vibe. The angle was dreadful. It was shot outside. Again, I looked like a whale. And it was just such a crisis for me. And I just thought, if I don't stop now, and I already knew, there were health issues and all the rest of it. So that was kind of the big catalyst. Not because I saw myself on TV, but that was part and parcel. Because of course you look a lot bigger on TV as well. Yeah. It's just really unflattering, So
what is it they say? 10 pounds heavier?
I think
so. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that I think the other thing as well, when you appear, in a photo, or when someone else has taken the photo of you or filmed you, you're not in control of the angles, are you? And so it's often you're caught in ways that you don't realise how you look. Yeah. And I was horrified. I was saying to my kids, why didn't you tell me I look like that? And they're like, Mummy, that's how you look. That is you.
And they will never see you through your eyes. They will only,
that's
your
right.
children will only see you through the eyes of love. So for
that's
them,
right.
That
it wasn't a place of hate. It wasn't. It was a place exactly that, and it's the same with your close family and friends. And so, which also sort of leads me to that whole, when people say things like, oh, I never saw you as a big girl, or I never saw you as big because you're just you. So that's exactly right, as you said, because, people love you and care for you and see you for you, but that doesn't necessarily make you feel any better, because you almost want to say, well, why weren't you truthful? Why didn't you say to me, oh my God, look at the size of you? Why weren't you honest to me? And I think that's quite a British thing, isn't it? People don't speak truth to you.
Yeah, or we could view it in another way as everyone's own perspective is their own reality.
Yes.
So actually what they're saying to you, their perspective is, well, I see beautiful Lara in front of me.
Oh,
so regardless.
And they don't see the hate you have for yourself, maybe.
Exactly.
And the because you don't just see yourself, you see it's all your trauma and your past experiences, isn't it? That you carry, these sort of invisible bags on your shoulders, and your own insecurities and all the rest of it. And also, I suppose, I hid in the pandemic. The pandemic for me was the perfect storm with the business, because, we were locked in, and I could get whatever I wanted delivered, including alcohol. Yeah. And I could literally stuff my face, drink myself into oblivion, and build this business and hide and not have to socialize and not have to see people. And it was almost like when we all started coming out of pandemic and doing things, I think I probably speak for a lot of people where they literally came out of hiding, of hibernation, and were like, holy crap, what have I done to myself? But for me, it wasn't pandemic that did that. I was already on the journey of abusing myself. So when I met you, definitely.
So what did embarking on your weight loss journey look like? Was it going to the gym? Was it adjusting your diet? Share some insight with us.
Well, I had already, before I met you, Rachel, you know, I've always my entire life embraced a gym lifestyle. So I'd always been doing fitness. But what I found when I went into menopause, was I went to the doctors and they just plied me full of drugs. I was given HRT, I was given beta blockers. Whatever I went for, they palmed it off and said, well, you're not sleeping, take a sleeping tablet. Well, you're anxious, take a this, take a that. So when I sort of, obviously it was all sort of happening at the same time, and it's difficult to sort of put my finger on it, but I knew that I was training and I wasn't losing weight. I was gaining weight. And every time I went to the doctor and said, something's not right, I'm gaining weight, they would just sort of pat me on the back and go, that's because you're in menopause. And sort of off I went. I had no support whatsoever from them. So for the first year, I would say 2020, when I decided I needed to do something about this and we were in lockdown, I was training online, but I wasn't losing weight. And I remember around about the time, I think it was before I met you, but I went to the doctors again saying, you know, something's wrong. You know, I had a Mirena coil in me. I was taking HRT. There was I literally was rattling, Rachel, full of all these medicines. And I just thought something's not right. So I went to the doctors and said, I really would like to come off the drugs. And they said, we don't advise that, you know. You're pre-diabetic, you know, you're morbidly obese, you know, you must keep taking the drugs. And me being me, I made my decision and I stopped taking everything. So that really was a catalyst. I stopped taking everything. I changed from online to in-person weight training. I actually listened to what the fitness instructor, Angie, was saying, and I met you.
Yeah.
So this was all kind of the perfect storm. It all happened.
Yeah.
Because I think I met you in the summer of 2021 and I had stopped. I mean, I had told you about the medication.
You just stopped it, yeah. You just stopped it.
And the first week of stopping everything and obviously meeting you and starting on this journey was when we started to see very slow weight loss. And your approach is very holistic.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about all of that, didn't we? So that was kind of the catalyst.
Fantastic. And did you set specific goals for yourself at the beginning of the journey?
Yes. But I learnt with you. My goal was, right, that's it. I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And I do remember at the very beginning of my journey with you, and what I learnt with you is to set realistic goals. And I think you taught me to sort of to look at, we literally looked at a week, didn't we? It was like, if I can make it through the week, and that's stayed with me since we very first met. It was like, I was so used to Weight Watchers and Slimming World and the conditioning of this ridiculous end goal that would just seem far off. You know, you'd always be trying to climb the mountain to get to the end goal, and you would literally do 2 weeks in, you'd go there, they would fat shame you for not hitting whatever you were supposed to have done, and you just fall off the wagon. And I yo-yo dieted for so many years, and that, I think a lot of that was down to having this ridiculous end goal. Yeah. It's unachievable.
So, and you know, that's the first thing when my new clients come my way. It's like, right, I want to work with you. I want to lose 5 stone. You know,
I probably said that to you, didn't I?
Yeah. Or I want to do what you did. And how long?
How did you do it?
How did you do it? And how long?
How long? Honestly, I remember that was probably the first question I asked you. You've lost how much? How long did it take? And every day in my inbox and on social media, if I could have not even a pound, a penny for every single person that says, how long did it take and what did you do?
Yeah.
And as if it's like some miracle fix.
Yeah.
And it was a 3-year journey.
It is.
And it's been a 1.5 years of maintaining.
Yeah. And it is a journey. And, you know, it's interesting because we've just recently had a conversation, haven't we, producer Hattie, about, calling it Mount Everest. And, that 5 stone goal is like looking at the top of Mount Everest. But what if we just changed the mindset to focusing on each and every week and every single
Absolutely.
footstep, taking it step by step and navigating it
That's
that way?
what I learned. And when, people say to me now, that was what you taught me, which was probably one of the most invaluable lessons that I learned, because people come to me and say, oh, well, I tried this and then I fell off the wagon and now I've put another stone on. And I tried this, and how do you maintain? And I say to them, so if I use Christmas as an example, I could hear Rachel's voice in my ear, which she's in my ear a lot. I can, I'm blessed with quite a sort of a photographic memory, and I can sort of almost regurgitate our sessions in my head. And one of the things is I did fall off our journey with Rachel quite a lot, and I would always remember her saying to me, it doesn't matter, because we would just restart. And and when I say falling off, it would be 1 week to the next. Maybe I didn't drink enough water, or and whatever those things were. And so at Christmas, I said to myself, you may eat whatever you want because you have the skills to deal with this in January. And at Christmas, when I say eat what I want, I'm not talking McDonald's and Coca-Cola. I'm talking being able to just take my foot off the pedal and not be aware of any of it. Just literally do that. And January the 1st, I was able to remember, I heard Rachel saying, now you're ready to redo everything that you've learned with me. All you need to do is drink your hot water with lemon in the morning. Make sure you've got your 3 litres of water, and make sure that you're eating healthily. Always make sure you eat breakfast. And this was literally what rolled through my head. January, I stepped on the scales 4 kilos heavier. End of January, I have now stepped off the scales completely back to where I was in December.
Brilliant. And that's one thing my intention and my absolute objective is for every person that works with me is to set them up with a rucksack of tools so that they can navigate life going forward, dipping in and out of that rucksack of tools to support them.
Absolutely.
On what their journey
like little
is.
Things like, in my cupboard is MCT oil for my coffee. And when
I wish you could pull out what's in my bag.
And
Producer Hattie, it's with me, and it's in my. Look, it's here.
And I never understood it, but it's in my cupboard, And when things, so the thing is, there isn't a one size fits all, and there isn't a one thing that I learned from Rachel that it's a combination, and you have to individually, and this is what I say to people, you have to find the combination that works for you, and that combination changes depending on where you are in. Don't have cycles anymore because I'm through menopause. Yay, lucky me.
Congrats.
But but I say to people, you still have hormonal changes as a woman, and mood changes and life situations. So what maybe worked, and this is the key thing, what maybe worked last month may not work this month. So you've got to dig into that toolkit that you said.
It really is. And being able to be so in tune with your body, and everybody is unique. Our biology is all different, and it's really getting to understand your body and how it works, and then understanding when to pivot. I love the word pivot.
Oh, I like pivot. I can pivot and shuffle.
Pivot.
That's definitely. I've just learned that as a move, actually, along with Charleston. Yeah, I can pivot.
I think. Do you know what? If one word was to sum up 2023 for me, it was the art of pivoting.
I love that.
And it's very much when it comes to your health and your nutrition and your wellness and your lifestyle, being able to pivot, especially when you start to navigate the 40s, because that's when your body does change. The 20s, 30s. We have, dare I say it, youth on our side, and we maybe take our bodies a little bit for granted.
Oh, 100%.
But then 40s, maybe you've had children, maybe you haven't had children, but change starts to happen, and it's really tuning into your body and listening to your body and understanding your body, how your unique body works. And I talk about it all the time. You know, there's the expectation that you walk into the bookshop, see all these diets on a shelf, and you're going to pick it up and it's going to work for you. Not necessarily.
The same works with exercise. And so, again, just to go back to something that's just stuck in my mind that we did, that I still do, is I remember we did a food diary where we were testing which carbohydrate did or didn't impact on my body. And we went from everything from like brown rice to white rice to potatoes to sweet potatoes to pasta to and I was like, I don't eat carbs, you know, I'm like a keto girl and and I remember you saying to me, you have to understand that you have to have a balanced diet. So you've got to eat the one that's going to work for you. And I remember that. And so when I eat now, sometimes I'll have sourdough bread and sometimes I'll have white rice. And, so, you know, so because in my head, I literally visualize that diary. I can see, and I remember like some of the things really upset my tummy. You know, like the most bizarre things, like sometimes it'd be too many green vegetables. Like, how the hell did that happen? And I remember you explaining to me about like inflammation and, you know, and I hear myself saying the things that Rachel has said to me, like as if I'm, you know, I say to people, look, first of all, I'm not a guru. You can't come to me. You have to speak to my transformation coach, Rachel, or whatever. But also fitting into that, the way that I exercise might not suit you, the way that you exercise. And so people sort of think, I mean, this is a really, really fascinating one. How many people think that if they absolutely hammer themselves, January comes, they'll hammer themselves in the gym, they'll start running, they'll do this or do that, and they don't change the diet. They don't change what they put in their mouths. And they think that the way that I've lost weight is clearly because I weight train and I dance. Rubbish. That was the small percentage of the change. The change was the mindset and what I put in my gob. Yeah. Quite frankly, what I drank and taking out alcohol, which for me has been the biggest change. I don't, you know, limit the alcohol.
Yeah. And for sure, you know, it is my belief and what I'm experiencing from all the clients that I work with, 98% of the journey is mindset.
Oh, absolutely.
1% is nutrition and 1% is movement. And, you know, it's interesting that you talk about the experiment because I am very much talking about eating for the biology of your body, eating for your unique biology of your body. Yeah. And if I just mention now, I've recently just launched a program of eating for the biology of your body. So if you want more information, have a look at my website. But yes, it's really going on that journey of discovering self. So here's a question for you.
Okay.
Did you encounter any setbacks or challenges along the way? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Wow, that's quite a question because I never stopped. And I think I was quite inspired by your story because there were a lot of similarities with our background, sort of our background careers and, you know, being mothers and stuff. And I don't know whether you said this or whether I've dreamt it, but this was my mantra was that you sort of said to me that you kept on losing when you'd sort of put your mindset. So for me, I knew especially with how you coached me that I wasn't always going to lose, and I wasn't always going to lose weight, but that wasn't a problem because you don't necessarily have to lose weight to still be benefiting from being on this journey.
Absolutely.
And I have been so conditioned by Weight Watchers and having to achieve that if you didn't achieve that, you were a failure that week.
Yeah.
That the challenge was not so much looking on the scales, which I was so conditioned to do. Yeah. The challenge was not battering myself if I didn't see a change. Yeah. So that was a massive learning. So that was a challenge. The challenge is learning to understand that you don't have to physically lose on the scales to be making change.
Yeah.
And the evidence is what I did, because every week, without fail, when I stopped thinking about that, without fail, I lost weight.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple of sticking points, weren't there? But I was still losing. But sometimes it wasn't as rapidly. But I never stopped doing that. So the challenge for me was the mindset work, wasn't it?
It really is. And that's such a powerful reframe and mindset change is, you know, especially when you're on the journey of the transformation of losing
A
a
big
lot
amount
of weight.
weight.
You know, you are going to go through a period where you plateau. You are.
And we would speak, and we would speak, and you know the beauty of your service. Just a little plug is that you know, even after working with you, I knew that I could. You know, there were times when I'd be like, "Oh, for crying out loud, is this normal?" And the fascinating thing I got from when I would speak to you, and I remember you saying, because when I was on my journey, you said to me, when you get to the maintenance stage, that's when the battle's going to really start, and we'll talk about that, but I'm not going to talk to you about it now. And I'd be like, oh, please tell me, like the unlocking of the golden gate of the maintenance stage. And I've been in the maintenance stage now for it's got to be like at least 14 months, and I think that understanding how to balance the maintenance stage, and that, you know, being able to come back to you, and you gave such sort of great advice and tips, and you know, I would be sending Rachel all through like the most bizarre. I'd be like, even though she hasn't asked me, it's like, I'm really sorry to put this photo into your WhatsApp, but look at me.
Yeah,
I'd be
love
like,
it.
you know, I'd be putting it out. I think, you know, I'd be like, look at me, I'm wearing like a size 14, and then I'm wearing a size 12, and then I'm wearing a size 10, and now obviously I'm in an 8 and a 6. It's just like, it's just a big thing.
And we giggle a lot. We giggle a lot about the bra.
Yes.
And
the bra.
She had this. You won't mind me sharing. Lara had an obsession of getting into a skinny strap bra, and like I've got producer Hattie has got the bra that I think it's in that little blue pouch in the bag. Yeah, in that one. Yeah, the bra.
Yes.
Because
oh my God, I've got these. Yes.
This used
is
to
the
be
bra.
my bra, which was...
Oh my God, I had these. What's that? Is an elephant size G.
Yeah, it's a 40G.
Yeah.
And I remember showing you this bra, and she's like, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to be able to get...
Because I was in that. I was in it. Let me put it against me now. So I had these.
It's...
But I was actually bigger than a G. I was a GHHI, probably when so my story is when I fell pregnant with my first child, who's now about to turn 24, and I probably had gone up to a size 14, which was dramatic because I'd put on 4 stone. I remember going to John Lewis and asking for a nursing bra. They literally got this. They measured me, and obviously I was pregnant then, and I didn't realise that was how I was going to blow up when I put all the weight on. And I remember they took me to this back corner of John Lewis and got a ladder and climbed up the ladder and got this thing down from the top shelf, and they sort of presented me with this dusty box and said, well, we've got this cross your heart thing, which was probably designed for much older ladies, and it was the ugliest hammock thing I'd ever seen. But that became the thing that I lived in when I was a size, not that particular bra, but that size.
Yeah.
And you know, I used to kid myself when I was that size. It's like, it doesn't matter. People just think you're 14 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Did you do that? It's just like, oh, well, people just think I'm pregnant. Anyway, God, the bra. Yeah. So now I've gone from, I think I went, in my biggest, I was a 40, God knows what, off the scale.
Yeah.
And now I'm a 34C.
And do we have skinny straps?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the beauty of my shuffle dancing is I just dance in a gym bra without support, without any wires.
Fantastic. I mean, if you can, why not, hey?
You know, no wires. I mean, now maybe I should
And
have wire.
after 3 kids,
Yeah, after
check
3 babies.
you out.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. How did you, when you're on the journey, navigate social situations and potential temptations while focusing on your weight loss goals?
I mean, we did a lot of work together, and you know, I learned from you because I I found I used to find that very, very difficult, because one thing that people do, and I don't know why still to this day, is people like to sabotage your journey. It's almost as if you say, oh, I'm watching what I eat at the moment, they'll say, oh, come on, you can have that, and don't worry, there's always tomorrow. And back in the day, that would be, you'd be like, okay, well, they've said it's okay, as if they've got any right to tell you what to do, and you would do it because you wouldn't want to stand out in a social situation. So 4 years, I did that. 4 years, I'm Jewish, and I'd be at, the family's Friday night dinner, and it'd be like there's 17 different versions of dishes, and your plate would be piled up, and you were conditioned to eat that. And being able to say no for me was very, very difficult. And I had to learn through you, Rachel, how to do that. And that is something, to know that I also now, I choose not to drink. And I say to people now, my body is my temple, literally. I am not going, you fill your boots. If you want to eat that, that's no problem. But I've worked, and I say it now, I've worked really hard to achieve this body, and it's precious to me.
Yeah.
So I do that, and that's kind of in my maintenance journey. I never thought I'd say that. I always thought that's the most obnoxious thing you can put. How arrogant. But now it's like, when people say things like, "Oh, come on, have a treat." Treat? Well, you're going to put that alcohol in your body. That's no treat to me. Treat to me is a new gym outfit.
Yeah.
And that I learned from you.
Yeah.
I learned from you to not treat myself with £50 worth of Uber delivery of sweets, and to treat myself. She'd be like, that is not a treat, Lara. I'd be like, okay, what the hell is a treat? And you used to say to me, a treat is going and getting a new pair of shoes, and I bloody well do that now.
Yeah.
It's an experience. A treat for me is booking the most expensive restaurant, or buying, instead of buying, the normal jeans, buying the designer jeans, because I've not stuffed my face on. I just haven't wasted the money, is what I'm trying to say. It's having that money. Actually seeing what you spend, what we used to spend as a household on, oh my God, delivery,
Junk food and
junk
takeaways.
food,
It's insane, isn't it?
all of that sort of stuff, and diet products.
Yeah.
There is not one single diet product in my fridge. It's the devil. We are a full fat household. Since we are as organic as whatever we can afford. That's what I learned from Rachel. You buy less, buy better.
Yeah.
And that's stuck with us.
Love that. No.
So
we talk a lot on this podcast about consistency.
yes.
Okay. And as we know, it's easy to go to the gym once. It's easy to eat clean for a day. What's hard is remaining consistent. How did you do that?
So consistency to me is the same word as discipline. And to me, discipline and motivation are very different, because you can motivate yourself. You can be full of motivation, but that doesn't necessarily get you to do what you're supposed to do. And consistency to me is discipline. So I have had to be really disciplined to be consistent. So by that, it's which I was very bad at, and you made me do, and I would have to have food alarms in my diary, because I was the kind of person that would literally starve all day and not have time to eat, and it'd be like, I'm just too busy, I don't need to eat because I'm just so busy, and I'll starve myself because that's fasting, and I'll just eat in the evening. But I wasn't eating in the evening. I'd eat a double takeaway and drink 2 bottles of wine. So it was I would set food alarms in my diary, because you taught me how to do that.
And I remember, I actually can
You'd be
remember
like,
at
what
the end
do you mean you're not eating?
At the end, I was like, put the reminders in your diary.
Yes.
And putting that as one of your actions. Put them all in your diary.
So
Remember
alarms
that,
would go off, but then you can ignore the alarms. So then it came down to having, staff, team, children, if not preparing my food, but coming to me and saying, there are 7 alarms going off. What the hell is going on? What are you not doing? And I'd be like, that'll be eating or drinking. So that was discipline, to have the consistency. And then obviously little things like having the same day of the week that we would do the food ordering and the food prep. that's consistency. So that had to change. Meal prepping, that's consistency. And, you can come up with all the excuses in the world. Oh, I'm really busy at the weekend, so I won't have time to do this. I won't have time to do that. But, the consistency of, if you then start to see the weight come off and you see your actions working, it is the best motivation. And so these things now, the consistency, I have consistently been disciplined and motivated myself with the things that I've learned. And it's worked, because the proof is in the pudding.
It really is.
It's
And,
worked.
now it's part of you, isn't it?
It is, honestly, it's hilarious. I get up, I fill my 2 litre ridiculous pink pretend Stanley cup thing that's so heavy. I have it. I put lime. Like, my treat now is lime cordial, because I'm not a natural water drinker. So I will have
Pretend I won't hear that.
Yeah, I'll have something in it. That's my treat. To me, that's my treat. That's like my treat is 2 sweeteners. It's like I don't do anything else. So that little bit of artificial crap is my treat. And I drink and I giggle, because the one thing I also learned was the only way you're going to make yourself drink more is if you buy the most ridiculous looking receptacles and have them everywhere in your house. So in my car is that receptacle, and that always gets filled up for the day's water. On my desk is it's that big, obviously nobody can see, it's the size of a giant milk bottle of pink cup that has the water for the day. And then everywhere, and my team are used to this, it's like literally, and at the end of the day everybody collects all the receptacles of liquid.
I love that. And are they empty though? That's
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
There you go.
That's it.
My job is done.
Absolutely, it's like that's what I say to people. But do you drink enough? I can hear Rachel. But have you drunk your water? Have you drunk your water? Why haven't you drunk your water? It's the easiest thing to do. Go and drink your water. If someone says to me, "Oh, but Lara, I haven't got the same discipline as you," and I'm like, "That's absolutely rubbish. Have you drunk your water?" People don't.
And it's all learned. It's all learned behaviour.
Yeah.
You can learn to be consistent.
She says, taking her glass.
You can learn to be consistent. You can learn to be disciplined. All these behaviours are all learned. Okay, so how did you track your progress and celebrate the milestones along the way?
Good question. Which you taught me as well, because trying to get me to track was probably your biggest achievement, because I never did, and it probably took a few months before I did that. So you definitely, I am not a journaler, and I know a lot of people love to write down, just purely because I spend so much time typing that I actually have lost the power of how to write. It sounds ridiculous.
No, I can connect with that.
My writing is absolutely shocking, like a doctor's. Sorry, doctors. So my iPhone is my journal, and every day I put in what I ate, how much. I know there are apps to do it, and I know that we did look at apps, but it's just another thing for me to open. So for me, the easiest thing was my calendar. My phone calendar. Every day it would be what I was eating, what I was doing, how much I slept, and that's what you sort of drummed into me. So I think tracking everything, sleep. I have my phone. I got my Apple Watch connected. There's so many different devices. But for me, what worked was tracking my sleep, tracking my fitness. I tracked everything. I can go back at any stage in the journey, and I can see what I lost, when I lost it, what my mood was, because mood was really important. How much sleep I had, whether I had a good day at work or a bad day at work, or had a go at the kids, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then what was the other thing that you asked me? What was the other part of the
How
question?
did you celebrate the milestones along the way?
Always with clothes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
With clothes.
And I remember her sending me the pictures. She's like, look, I'm wearing this without Spanx. I'm like, yay, well done.
and I have a confession to make, that I have bought everything. This whole what is age appropriate. I have defied the laws of age, and I have. For a long, long time, I've been so conditioned that because of my age, you can only wear this. Because of my size, you can only wear that. And the one thing that this journey has taught me is I can wear what the hell I want when I want.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
So how do you now maintain your weight loss that you've now reached, which is, 8 stone? How do you maintain
eight
it?
dress sizes. Now my weight loss is, I went from 17.5 stone to 9'4". I think that's whatever the 8 stone loss.
Okay.
I think I'm somewhere around 9 stone. I dip up and down. I give myself a half a stone leeway,
Love that.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't cry at any stage if I've gone up by half a stone now.
I taught you well. Taught you so well.
I'm like the golden pupil.
How do you maintain? So tell me, how do you maintain?
I mean, you know, we can talk about January as an example of taking my foot off the pedal in December and allowing myself that, you know, I allowed myself £7, and it might have been 8 to 10 that I put on, because I've lost 4 kilos. So that's probably about 9. I've lost £9 in January, and it might sound a lot to some people who are struggling with just a pound. But for me, it was just regimented eating 5 to 6 meals a day, food prep, gallons of water. I mean, like gallons of water. Dry January. For me, alcohol, would be the thing that bloated me.
Yeah.
It would be the thing that pushed. You see, if I drink, I eat crap.
Yeah.
If I drink more than 2 gin and tonics, 3 takes me into the realm of stuffing my face mindlessly. Or wine I don't touch at all.
Yeah.
I cannot touch any form of wine. And 1 glass of wine, for me, feels like it could put on half a stone.
Yeah.
It triggers something in my body that goes, grab every calorie in the air and stick it on your body. That's just what happens. And so for me, it's and I've become more alcohol resistant the more I've lost.
The cleaner you are, you for sure becomes alcohol resistant. Yeah.
Everything from I'm not just talking about weight gain, but actually, if I have, I literally I'll have 1 gin and tonic, and it will be as if I had drank the entire bottle. The next morning, I wake up, I can smell it on my breath. It affects my mood. I mean, it's literally like poison to me now.
No, I'm exactly the same.
Are you?
Oh my goodness! With alcohol now, I feel like I've been poisoned.
It is like a poisoning, and it just makes it just really goes to show. You know, in my height of lockdown, mental menopause abuse to myself, I would drink 2 bottles of Tempranillo, which I flipping loved, and you know, and I would say to Rachel, you know, the wine clearly is broken. You know, they're obviously selling watered down wine in the pandemic, when the reality is I was absolutely used to drinking it. Yeah. So that level of poison, how did I function? How did I get up, run a business, look after my kids, homeschool, on 2 bottles of wine a day?
But you didn't, though. You felt completely different on reflection now. Like the person that sits in front of me now, your energy and your light and your focus and conviction was no way there when I met you and we sat in Victor's and had our first chat. And you said, I don't eat parsley.
which is my allergy.
Yeah, it's our allergy.
Yeah.
Sounds
ridiculous.
But you are like a whole different person. So it's not just the physical transformation that you've been on. It's whole mental, energetic self.
Thank you. I am living my best life now. And I'm 55. And it's almost like people say to me, it's as if you're de-aging, and I am. You know, I am de-aging in a sense that I am proving to myself and my body and my mindset that anything's possible. You know, and society puts all these limiting beliefs on you, especially as a female. And I work very much, you know, with the work that I do in the dating and relationship space. We are so limited in what we can and can't do because society and our upbringing and our background and our life experiences sort of restrict us, and we sort of walk around. And the one thing that I did, which I'm sure anybody who's listening does, is we blame everybody and everything for what has happened to us, and we don't take ownership of it ourselves. And the minute that I started to, like, taking ownership doesn't mean you failed. It just means that you can bring change. And that understanding working with you, understanding that it's okay to acknowledge that things have been shit. And it's okay to acknowledge that you've done that to yourself. It's like, it's just, you haven't failed, you've just done it. So undo it. And that's
And some of
what
our
I've done.
failures can be our greatest successes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if I hadn't got to that point, I wouldn't have got to this point.
Right.
So that's
I've got
like
goose. That's giving me goose pimples. Oh,
that's
love
a preach,
that.
isn't it? Absolutely.
Totally. So, looking back, what do you think was the most crucial factor in your success?
Meeting you.
Oh, thank you.
Meeting Angie, my PT.
Yeah.
Probably, I'm a single parent to 3 children. And I think...
High five, because that's like hard work in
It's,
itself.
yeah, it's hard work. I'm the sole provider for my children.
You've built and run your own business.
Yeah, I built and run my own business, and I think the realization that I was on a road to killing myself through the unhealthy choices and decisions that I was making, and having that wake up call and thinking, like, I'm so close to any number of health issues. I was so close to that, and I'd been in denial for a very, very long time, and I'd been in that blame game. So I think that you hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
You're literally on your ass on the floor, the lowest. And you mentioned earlier about climbing Mount Everest, and I literally saw the highest mountain in front of me, and I was like, how the hell am I gonna get up there? And then something tripped in me. It was like, well, I'm gonna do it. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but it was the start of that journey, wasn't it? It is Mount Everest ahead of you.
Oh, I really have just got goose pimples. What advice would you give someone who's starting their own journey? What words would you share with them to empower them?
Okay.
Because we've both been there. We've both
Yes.
been at that rock bottom
Yes.
place. And I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is there's something special in getting to rock bottom, because from rock bottom you can rise.
Yes. I mean, absolutely. I was going to say the only way is up. The one thing that I now know and that I would share is that every day is a new day. Whatever happened in this day, you can do it differently tomorrow. And it doesn't matter if tomorrow, because you don't know how tomorrow is going to look, but in this day, if this day has not played out the way you want it to, you see, we're so trained to look at the bigger picture, to look at the end goal, to look at the results. And that's impossible, terrifying, blows your mind, unachievable for so many people. So I only work on one day at a time. And if I get through that one day and I've done it, and I kind of made the right decisions with food, drank loads of water, and even if I didn't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't unravel anymore. So it's just, my takeaway from all of this is just literally one day at a time.